Hello, welcome to the MeetRx Success Story podcast. I'm Tracy, a coach here at MeetRx. I'm here today with another great success story. We have our friend here, Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And thank you for coming to our show and sharing your journey with us. And I was wondering if you could start by telling me what was your life like and your health conditions, your foods that you ate prior to coming to a meat-based diet.
Yeah, absolutely. So my early story is probably quite different than a lot of people who try carnivore because my father's side was Lebanese and he was born and raised there and came here when he was in his late teens. So I grew up in my household eating basically the Mediterranean diet. It was pretty healthy, a lot different than the standard American diet. Lots of hummus and tabbouleh and fish and just those healthy salads and foods like that. So I never had a weight problem or any health problem growing up. And I had 5 sisters and we were all pretty healthy. It wasn't until I got into my college years and moved out where I discovered pizza and beer and fast food that, the weight started coming on. But we're all endomorphs in our family. And my father's side, all my aunts and uncles and cousins emigrated here when I was like mid 80s or so, when they wanted to be with my father. And I remember their reactions to grocery stores because they made everything by hand there. They even made their own bread and everything, the Arabic pita bread. And they were just flabbergasted, like, oh my gosh, the grocery stores, all the varieties, you can buy bread already made. Look at cereal and snacks and bakery goods and all these things. And I remember their fascination. And now, sadly, since they've all been here for, 2-3 decades, obesity is rampant, and especially the women. It's you can see the health problems and the result of going from that really healthy diet to the standard American processed diet, not unlike the Pima Indian story that we all know, so that was really interesting. But my weight started going up in the college years, and then I broke my leg really badly in a car accident. I was bedridden for a while, and so that's when the weight really came on. And that was back in the 90s. And ever since then, I've battled my weight. My set point is like 180, up 10 points, down 10 points. But, what really started to turn me on to the fact that I was having health issues was when I contracted Lyme disease in 2015. And I got bit by a tick and had the bullseye rash and the glands and the fever and the aches. But my doctor at the time didn't really know much about it. And it was like 3 months later that I'd gone to her and she said, I think you could have it, but I'm not sure. We'll give you some antibiotics and that should take care of it. And I didn't really know much about it either. But I had noticed these hives coming around here and there ever since then, but managed with just good nutrition, trying to eat lots of fruits and vegetables to keep it at bay. But it never really went anywhere. It just kind of, stayed by the wayside and would pop up when I got really stressed or sick. Well, in 2015, I founded keto because I wanted to lose that weight. So I read up all on keto. I went on the keto diet and lost a ton of weight. It was super easy. It was like, wow, this is amazing. How great is this? It took me about 8 months to lose 40 pounds or so. But the problem with keto was that I started getting stressed in the fall. I had to move and I had to get a new job. And that weight all came back on within 3 months. I was back up to where I was in only 3 months, gained 40 pounds back. And ever since then, it's been a huge battle. And so my husband and I live in northern Michigan, and we were born and raised in the Detroit area. He actually is a bodybuilder. He spent 13 years in prison, which is a really interesting story. He's connected to the mafia. He's got his own YouTube channel. He tells all of his stories, Gunner Detroit, if anyone's interested in that. And I had waited for him while he was in prison. And my goal was to get super thin and get fit because he was really fit. And I wanted to look good for him. And I did everything I could. I starved myself. I tried keto again. I did all these different things and nothing worked. It was like the system had shut down. And that was about 4 or 5 months after I contracted Lyme disease. And it was like my body broke. My whole metabolism just broke. And I even have a podcast called Her Thing, Diary of a Prisoner's Wife, where I not only talk about my faith and how I prepare for his homecoming and my move and all that, but my struggle with health and my struggle with weight, just, you can see it throughout all these. They were actual diary recordings that I recorded at the time, daily diaries, where I'm just struggling with, exercise and diet, and nothing worked. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been together in Northern Michigan. He's doing great. He's an author of 2 books. He's got his own YouTube. He's a creator, and we have this beautiful marriage, and we live on a homestead. But I just struggled with my self-confidence, with my health. I was feeling old and achy, and I thought it was the climate, the winters in Michigan. So I told my husband, I said, let's get out of Michigan. I'll feel so much better if we go down south and I get some vitamin D and we have sunshine and warm weather. So we moved down south to Missouri in fall of 2019. And it was beautiful down there, but they have these things called chiggers, which I had never encountered before. And they bit me so badly, and they bit him too, and his went away after a while, but mine didn't. They just kept spreading and itching, and they were scabbing. They were horrible and ugly. Finally, after the whole winter, when they wouldn't go away, it was like February 2020, right when COVID started, I thought, you know what, I need to figure this out, because this is getting bad. I was determining that everything I ate, every single food, everything I ate would just make it flare up. But if I didn't eat, then it would kind of die down a little bit. And I started Googling, allergic to every food and diet. And I somehow came across Michaela Peterson and her story. And then that took me to Dr. Paul Saladino, and I found Dr. ShawnBaker, and I was reading these carnivore stories. And I thought, wow, there's all this healing that I'm seeing with carnivore. I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it and see. And so it was about a week into my carnivore journey that I had my doctor appointment with a doctor down there in Missouri. His name is Dr. Bradley Garner. He's awesome. He's out of Aurora. I have to give him props, because he knew about the carnivore diet, and he advocated going on an elimination diet. He knew all of the gurus too, and he loved keto. And I was just shocked that somebody knew about this, because it seemed so radical to me. And he said to me, Maria, go on this carnivore diet. I think if you do this, you're going to feel a lot better, and your eczema will heal up. I totally advocate it for you. So come back and see me in a month. So I did carnivore strictly for 1 month, eating steaks and burgers and bacon, a little bit of butter, a little bit of eggs. And my eczema went away. Like, all of the rashes and everything I was dealing with went away. And I was like, oh, it worked. But I never went back to him because of COVID, and then we discovered that it's just far too hot down in Missouri, and we didn't know how it was coming from the north. And with COVID and everything, we missed our friends and family. So we decided to move back up north this past fall, in fall of 2020. So we were down there for exactly 1 year. And when we came up here, we found this cute little farmhouse and we settled in, but winter came and I just ate with abandon. Like, I just gave up. I mean, it healed it once, and then I went back to normal eating, and I just slowly started eating sugars and carbs and breads and all these food, pastas and everything. And by the time this past Thanksgiving rolled around, I was miserable. I was so miserable. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. I had heartburn. I felt like an old person. I couldn't get up off the floor. My eczema was raging. I'd wake up certain days with my head throbbing and my glands were swollen. And I'm just like, I know my body is telling me I am unwell, and I don't know what to do about it. But then I remembered carnivore, and I thought to myself, I'm going to start off with keto. Let's start with that. So I started keto December 1st, and then transitioned to carnivore on February 15th. So it's been a little over 2 months that I've been on carnivore. So that's my story. Primarily eczema, but I had all these other things, particularly the weight, and then, the self-confidence and the mental fog. And I was just so depressed about my entire health situation.
Wow, that was a long journey, wasn't
It was.
it? So, yeah, and then the way you found out about carnivore was through Michaela Peterson. I've heard a lot of people mention that, but then you saw Dr. Saladino and Dr. Baker, and
Oh yeah, and it's like, once you get a little bit of it, you want more. I mean, I've read all the books, I follow all the YouTube channels, and it's just like I couldn't digest, no pun intended, enough of that. And I wanted to understand why it worked. And I could see, I mean, especially these last like 4 or 5 months, I've really been battling a histamine issue, where if I eat something that I used to eat eggs or cottage cheese or, you know, a salad, which you think would be healthy, I start getting hives. I start breaking out in hives, and I get the sneezing and the runny nose and the itchy eyes, and my eczema flares up. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I'm still in the very early stages of healing. But the only thing that allows me to heal and gives me respite from all of that is carnivore. And in addition to all of that, it's like I've done away with all of the heartburn medicine, the antacids. I've done away with the antihistamines. I used to take Benadryl and Claritin and all those. Those are gone. And I started walking several miles and running even a little bit here and there. And I just overall feel so much better. I don't wake up with that brain fog. And I'm still astounded. You know, I'm so early in the game that I'm still astounded at how much I've been able to heal. And I'm thinking, if that's just 2 months, what is the rest of my life going to look like if I stay on this? And I'm still perplexed about the medical, you know, issues behind it. Like, was it the chiggers? What did it reactivate Lyme disease? Is there something else in our foods that's causing histamine reactions? Why do some of us, you know, have this autoimmune thing where clearly our bodies are attacking even simple things like ingesting and digesting foods? I had a friend, I haven't been back to the doctor because we don't have health insurance at the moment, but I had a friend describe MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, I think it is, and tried to start giving me information on that. So I'm starting to research that right now. But basically, it's a condition, I'm sure you're probably familiar with it, where your body just has these reactions to pretty much everything. And that's where I'm at right now, that if I eat anything other than meats, my husband knows it. He knows it by my mood. He knows it by my itching and scratching, by my sneezing. It's just really bizarre, but I'm so thankful that we have carnivore to go to.
Yes. So it's a lot different than keto for you also.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because here's the interesting thing. Because I didn't have health insurance, I did one of those Everly Well food sensitivity tests because I was doing keto and I was doing really clean keto, salads, eggs, and meat, you know, and maybe some nuts here and there, some almonds or some cashews. And I felt a little bit better, but not a whole lot better, not completely better. And I thought, well, let me figure out if maybe something's, you know, showing up in my food sensitivity test. And so I did that, and it came back with very high sensitivity of eggs, which I've eaten eggs my whole life. We have our own hens even where we get fresh eggs. And I love nuts, but I was sensitive to nuts, and I was obviously sensitive to all the grains. I already know I'm lactose intolerant, so I know I had to like get rid of the cheeses, which I did after a while. But that showed me that for whatever reason, my body can't do keto because I have that sensitivity to nuts, which is kind of an important part. I mean, the almond butter, the almond flour, all those things, those ingredients that people use for keto recipes, couldn't do it, plus the eggs. So it's like, did I really want to play Russian roulette and continue trying to find the 2 or 3 different foods that wouldn't cause a reaction? And at times, even if I ate a salad, it would really bother my stomach, or I'd have, you know, some bad digestive problems, or I'd still have an eczema flare up. And it's like, well, I didn't have nuts or eggs or anything in there. Something in the plant food, you know, caused that reaction. And so I just kind of got tired of trying to figure it out. You know, it can be overwhelming and it can be, you know, a little frustrating and disappointing, but it's so satisfying being on carnivore. You know, I wake up in the morning and I have, a burger with some bacon. And then later in the day, I'll have a steak, and I don't feel hungry, and I can go several hours without eating. And I'm just starting to dabble in the fasting piece of it, but I think I'm not there yet, but I'm looking forward to it because I know a lot of good can come from that. So yeah, keto was quite different. I mean, it helped, but it didn't get me there all the way.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing that you could get this healing in this short amount of time too. So can you go through and tell me what all you think has healed in this couple of months?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's such a laundry list. If I took a snapshot of myself back in December, which wasn't that long ago, and I have I mean, I don't have a big YouTube following, but I have a YouTube channel called The Misses, and I chronicle the journey. My very first video was back in December, I think December 1st, where my hair is not done, and I'm bloated, and I'm really self-conscious, and I'm just talking about how badly I feel that I wake up in the morning and I have a headache and I can't think straight and my brain's foggy and I don't feel like I slept good. And I can't get up off the floor without feeling like an old person, grunting and groaning and my knees aching. And I had this chronic knee problem. The heartburn was so bad that I was just popping Tums like they were candy. And what else? I mean, my eczema, obviously, I was sneezing a lot and my eyes were itchy and watery. I was having all of those like histamine reactions and even some things like tooth and gum pain. You know, when I first tried to eat a little bit more meat to ease myself, my teeth, it was like my gums hurt and that all went away. All of those symptoms went away. I'm sleeping good. I'm running now. I'm stretching and feeling very limber. I don't take any antacids. I don't have any brain fog, and I feel so much more energetic throughout my day. I'm able to focus at work and sit through an 8-hour day, get up at lunch and maybe do something on the treadmill or go out for a walk and come back and be totally focused. And my mood is so much better. I had such a dark outlook. And I know I've watched all of Brett Lloyd's videos about anxiety and depression and how carnivore can help that. And that wasn't even something I was trying to focus on. That was just a byproduct. It was like gravy, you know, on the meat, if you will. I was so thrilled to see that my outlook, I was able to cope with stress better and handle decision making better. I mean, I can go on and on, Tracy, about how good I feel on this. And even simple things like and it might be a little TMI, but I was dealing with hemorrhoids, you know, and it never occurred to me that hemorrhoids were something that was diet related. And that all went away. And I had said to my husband, I haven't had to deal with that in the last 2 months. Like, that's amazing that carnivore can heal all of these things that I didn't even realize were diet related, you know? So, I mean, if I could sit here and think of more, I'm sure I could, but we don't want to take up too much time with that. But I first and foremost, my skin issues. My skin looks great. Even my face, you know, my skin there for a while was looking just dry and dull. My hair was falling out and I didn't feel pretty in any way because my skin was so bad and I was afraid to wear shorts or have my husband see my legs, and all of that is gone. I'm just so thrilled.
Wow, that is awesome. I'd love to hear that, Maria. So you said you're eating basically beef and steaks. What other kind, are you having any other meats, ruminant animals?
Yeah,
Bacon?
yeah, once in a while I'll have chicken wings because my husband loves chicken wings. So I'll bake some chicken wings or put them in the air fryer. I love lamb. So if I can find lamb on sale, I'll get some lamb. And my husband's a fisherman. He loves to fish for salmon and for trout. So we do have fresh fish, wild caught. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, once every 2 weeks or so. We have a bunch in the freezer that I probably need to use up. But that's pretty much it. I don't really eat that much pork other than bacon. I love my bacon burgers. Yeah, I pretty much stick to beef. I feel the best on beef. And being up north in this rural area, we have wonderful farmers and I can buy my beef locally, grass fed from a local farmer. I can drive by and see my cow, you know, and I know the people who raise them. They're wonderful. So I'm very blessed in that regard that I can go buy local grass fed beef.
That's awesome. So have you converted your husband quite yet?
No, gosh, it's funny being in this perspective and seeing somebody, living with somebody where he has a couple bowls of Captain Crunch at night, you know, or he'll have a yogurt with berries and drizzle honey on it. He is a bodybuilder, like I said, and so he looks good, but he also deals with chronic migraines and headaches. I know his pancreas is screaming for some help, you know, even though it doesn't show outwardly on the outside. His eyes are going. He's got some of those symptoms where I keep telling him, listen, if you went carnivore, I bet you get rid of that. And he's been a sugar burner his whole life, you know, and I haven't. It's funny, you have the taste either for sugar or you don't. And I never did. And maybe that was the way I grew up. He's Italian, so he grew up eating pasta and bread, lots of bread, but he loves his sugar and I prefer fat and salt. That's always been my taste. So it's been very easy for me to first start off with keto and then go carnivore. But with him, he's protesting a little bit, but I know it really helps to show him by example how good I can feel. And he said a couple times, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it. I just have to ease into it, but I really want to try it and see. So that's pretty cool. I'll get him there.
Oh yeah, that sounds like you will. It sounds like you will. That's wonderful. I love hearing your story, Maria, and it's
Thank you.
so encouraging to others that are struggling and looking for health answers. And it sounds like you have had great health benefits from eating carnivore, and I know others will too.
Oh, it's such a great community. I feel badly for those who have tried this or needed this even 5 years ago or a decade ago, but now there's so much support out there, and there's so many blogs and articles and YouTube videos and the MeatRx channel and all of that, where everybody can come and find out what's it going to do for me, or how do I start, or if I need a coach, or just, what's it like at the beginning. And it doesn't take long, it might for some people, but I know for me, within 2 weeks, I started seeing dramatic results from keto. And you wouldn't think there'd be that big of a difference, but there really is. It makes a huge difference. So I'm an advocate, and I tell all my friends, and I'm telling everybody, you get those skeptics are like, what? Even my sister, you can't do that in our family. We have health problems, heart problems. You can't eat all that meat. I'm eating butter, saying, oh, yes, I can, because I feel amazing. And the proof is in the visual and in my energy level. And so, there's some people that need convincing, but I don't. I felt it, and I see it, and I'm a convert for sure.
Yeah, well, you seem to be glowing and be so positive and happy and everything.
Thank you.
That's a great witness. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for sharing.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I appreciate it. And I'll be watching, and I'll be sharing and directing everyone to this channel, and continue on my journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria.
Thanks, Tracy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.